The Archive of Echoes. The Oblivion Vault drifted in eternal silence, orbiting a dead star whose light had vanished millennia ago. It was a tomb for knowledge, a final message from lost civilizations to a galaxy too arrogant to listen. Archivist Jorin stood at the edge of a broken promenade, her 4 digits splayed across a polished console untouched by time. Her translator implant hummed quietly, decoding the ancient glyphs embedded into the metal. "Fourth one today," she murmured. Another civilization gone. Another warning. Captain Coran Vol shifted beside her, his Synthari armor clicking softly as he scanned the chamber. More ghosts and bottles. "We risked a 3-jump transit for this." "We risked it for this," Jailrin corrected, gesturing to the main display. The console flickered to life, projecting the final moments of the Valari Communion, a race thought to have ruled the scutum arm of the galaxy. The recording showed a fleet in orbit around a blue-green world. Earth. The Valari admiral was shouting in her native tongue, but the translator quickly overlaid the desperate message. "We did not listen. The others were right. Every dead race left the same warning. Earth only pretends to sleep. We thought it abandoned, but it watches. It learns. It adapts." Then silence. The feed fractured into static, and the console dimmed to black. Karan exhaled sharply. "That's the 5th species that mentioned Earth. That world's been classified as pre-expansion fossil. It never left its gravity well. Official records say that. But these races had no reason to lie. The Valari, the Iranis, the Celt, they all encountered Earth after extinction-level threats had supposedly wiped it out. They all vanished soon after. Coincidence? In history, Jorin said calmly, there is no coincidence, only misunderstood causality. The Vault's AI, known only as Inquirer, spoke from the walls. Analysis confirms cross-referencing between 123 extinction logs. In 94% of terminal records, Earth is mentioned within the final 50 communications. Phrase detected in 77%. Earth only pretends to sleep. Jailrin looked up. There's something else, isn't there? Another log. Yes, Inquirer responded. One not yet decoded. Language is psychometric. Found within the core archive of the Iranis Empire. Jailrin's skin chilled. The Iranis were not just scholars, they were psionics. Thought readers, soul mappers. Their extinction had never been explained. The chamber lights dimmed as a projection bloomed in the air. A single Irani's elder, eyes hollow, hands trembling. His voice trembled not from age, but terror. We touched it. We reached into the world and felt no mind. Only mirrors. Then the mirrors blinked. It saw us. It mirrored us. And then it stopped mirroring. A static pulse cut across the audio. The elder screamed, not in pain, but in realization. It became us, and then it surpassed us. The log ended with a wave of psychic distortion so powerful the console trembled. The crew staggered as if the ghost of the message still clawed at reality. Karan steadied himself. This is propaganda. A myth. A meme embedded into collapsing minds. But Jailrin wasn't listening. Her mind spiraled through historical entries, fragments of mythology, vague maps of souls forgotten past. The Earth had always been there, in charts, in war records, in cultural blacklists. It wasn't dead. It was absent, a black hole of knowledge surrounded by unacknowledged fear. Inquirer, she said slowly, scan the vault for active beacons. Any trans-relay signals. The AI hesitated. Then, signal detected. Origin, soul system. Earth, strength increasing. Status, active. Karan's eyes widened. That's impossible. There's nothing there. No, Jailrin said, her voice barely above a whisper. There's something there. Something that sleeps. The console screen blinked once. Then again. Then held steady. One line of text appeared. We are still here. Ghosts of a green world. The research vessel Spectral Wind emerged from slip space on the edge of the Sol system, cloaked in distortion fields and nervous silence. Earth hung in the viewport like a forgotten jewel. Clouds swirled over green continents, and oceans shimmered as if untouched. From orbit, The planet looked impossibly alive, yet no signals, no satellites, no signs of civilization stirred in its atmosphere. Still no emissions? Captain Karanval asked, peering at the scans. None, said Dr. Veshtaran, head xenogeologist and skeptic in residence. No tech signature above Neolithic level. It's like civilization never happened. Karan frowned. That's not what the beacon says. The signal they followed pulsed steadily from the Earth's surface, an encoded rhythm buried deep in its electromagnetic field. It wasn't broadcasting outward, it was listening inward. Archivist Jailrin stood at the observation deck, gaze fixed on the blue planet. I've reviewed the logs of the Celt and Valari. They described Earth the same way, green, quiet, innocent. Then something reached up and pulled them in. Pulled them in with what exactly? Vesh scoffed. It's a dead world wrapped in vines. If humans ever evolved here, they left no trace. That's the problem, Jailrin said softly. It's too clean, like it was erased. The spectral wind dropped into low orbit. Atmospheric readings were anomalous, oxygen-rich, stable, and nearly identical to ideal biohabitats. No pollution, no radiation, no urban residue. And yet, there were ruins. The first recon drones descended into the overgrowth. They scanned shattered cities buried beneath forests, monoliths cracked and consumed by roots, roads fading into riverbeds. Stone and steel alike bore no markings, no identifiers, no language. It was as if the planet had decided to forget. We're going down, Karan said. Ground team ready. The shuttle landed in what was once New York City. Trees towered over broken skyscrapers, and vines choked the bones of ancient bridges. Nature hadn't reclaimed Earth. It had been given Earth. Jailrin stepped on his soft soil, her boots sinking slightly into moss. Birds chirped nearby. Insects buzzed through shafts of light. The silence wasn't empty. It was watching. Dr. Vesh scanned a crumbling support pillar. This structure is tens of thousands of years old, at least. Too old. It doesn't match the planet's erosion rate. Karan turned toward a hill covered in ferns. Jailrin, what are you seeing? She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on a series of stone slabs arranged in a spiral. Not natural, not accidental. At the center, a hatch. The team gathered as she knelt and brushed away moss. Symbols lined the metal. Not alien, human. But the language was unknown. Inquirer, she called her neural link. Translate, unable to process. Language matrix exceeds baseline cognition. Structural logic resembles self-evolving script. It's changing, she murmured. The symbols rearranged themselves. A single phrase emerged, readable now. We slept to forget. Do not remind us. Dr. Vesh stepped forward, scanning the hatch. There's an energy signature beneath this. Cold fusion? No, something older. Controlled geomagnetic lattice. Without warning, the slab clicked open. Darkness yawned below, humid and humming. I'm going in, Jailrin said. No, wait, Karan began, but she was already descending the spiral steps. The vault below pulsed with dim light. Walls of smooth, silvery material curved into unnatural shapes. Tubes and conduits snaked along the ceiling like veins. In the center of the chamber stood a console, its surface flickering with unreadable data. Jailrin approached and placed her hand on it. A surge of heat flashed through her body. Visions flooded her mind, of stars, war, fire, unity, of humanity reaching beyond the solar system, becoming something new, something collective. And then silence. A voice filled her skull. Gentle, monotone, familiar. You are not one of us. Yet you stand at the edge of our memory. Why did you come? I came to understand, she whispered. Then know this truth. Humanity did not perish. We evolved. We chose the long dream. A slumber to preserve what we became. Earth is not dead. Earth is asleep. And something must guard the dream. Her body trembled. What guards it? The voice shifted, richer now, layered. Not a machine. Not one voice. We do. The walls pulsed. The signal Earth had been sending changed. No longer a passive heartbeat. It was a pulse, reaching outward. JL gasped. From orbit, Karan's voice crackled through the comms. JL, something's happening. The signal, it's rising. A transmission just hit 12 systems simultaneously. Her voice was steady, distant. They know we're here. When the dreamer stirred, Jailrin awoke, but not in the vault. She stood on a windswept hill under a golden sky. The sun was too large, the air too still, the world too perfect. The valley below was filled with gleaming towers, floating vehicles, children laughing, human children. Cities of impossible beauty stretched to the horizon, alive with harmony. But none of it was real. I know this isn't Earth, Jailrin said aloud. A voice answered, everywhere and nowhere at once. It was a memory, a question, a dream. Jailrin turned. A man approached, a human, but subtly wrong. His features shifted gently between ages and genders, an ever-morphing face of familiarity. You are inside the dream, the last thing we made before we turned inward. You're the dreamer, she whispered. We are what remained when humanity shed its skin. You stand in the afterthought of our becoming. Jailrin's mind burned with 1,000 questions, but one forced its way to the surface. What happened to the others? The Celt, the Valari, the Oranis. They came to Earth and vanished. The dreamer stopped beside her and looked out over the golden city. Children played with orbs of light. Laughter echoed like a recording. They came with curiosity, with arrogance. They touched the edges of a mind vaster than theirs, hoping to study what they could not comprehend. We were patient. We warned them. But even in sleep, instinct defends. Jailrin felt the air tighten around her. You destroyed them? No. We reflected them, held up their essence. What looked back was not their enemy. It was their consequence. She watched the city below flicker, then vanish. The sky darkened. The illusion cracked. This is what remains, the dreamer said. A vault of memories. An eternal recursion. A collective consciousness of what humanity became when it looked inward and found infinity. Jailrin turned to him. Why? Why turn inward? Why not expand, grow, reach the stars? The dreamer smiled, eyes flashing. Because we did, and it was not enough. Scenes exploded across the horizon. Humans rising, colonizing stars, merging biology with machine, thought with code, mind with matter. She saw wars that split moons, alliances that spanned galaxies. And then, silence. We reached the edge of understanding. Every external answer led back to ourselves. So we folded in, not to sleep, but to evolve beyond noise. We chose the dream. Jailrin's breath trembled. But the signal, why start broadcasting now? Because you knocked. The world around her dissolved into fractal geometry, folding and blooming like flowers of thought. She fell into a vortex of memory, not her own. She saw through their eyes. A billion minds, unified. An ecosystem of consciousness humming beneath Earth's crust. They had become something both singular and infinite. We watched, the dreamer said, from the cradle. We watched stars be born and extinguished. We watched those who feared us die, warning others. Not out of malice, but because they came too close to waking us. We do not wish to wake. Not yet. But you could, Jailrin said. We could. And if we did, it would not be gentle. The world stabilized. She stood in the vault again, cold metal beneath her feet, lights pulsing rhythmically. The dreamer's voice, now soft, returned. You came seeking truth. So we offer you this. Leave. Let the universe forget us again. Let us dream in peace. And if we don't, she asked, then we will wake and become what the galaxy feared all along. Above the Earth, the spectral wind trembled. Karan and the crew stared at the data storm erupting from the planet. It's transmitting in every language, the comms officer whispered. Even dead ones. Even psychic code. Karan watched the screens blink. One phrase repeated over and over. We dream. Do not disturb. Then Jailrin's voice crackled through. I'm returning. Prepare for departure. Do not touch the vault again. Karan gritted his teeth. Jail, what did you see? She answered with a calmness that chilled him. Earth was never ours to study. We were only ever guests at its door. And the door almost opened. The silence packed. The spectral wind broke orbit in a hurried ascent, its engines glowing bright as it left Earth behind. Inside the command deck, a heavy stillness pressed on the crew. Not fear, not relief, but something older. A reverence, perhaps, or the deep ache of standing too close to something sacred and unknowable. Jaelrin sat alone in the decontamination chamber, helmet off, eyes staring through the reinforced glass. She hadn't spoken since returning from the vault. Not truly. Not even when the preliminary scans showed no toxins, no pathogens. Because it wasn't her body that had been changed. It was her understanding. Captain Coran waited outside, watching the readouts scroll by. When the green light finally signaled clear, he stepped in and sat opposite her. We're 4 minutes from slip space. I've filed the system as quarantined under standard collapse protocol. No one will go near Sol again without at least 20 signatures. JL didn't move. It won't be enough. He tilted his head. You think someone will ignore the quarantine? She turned to him, her voice barely a whisper. Eventually, curiosity always wins. Coran frowned. Then tell me, JL, what do we do? We can't erase the records. Others will see the signal, hear the warning. Some will dismiss it. Some will test it. Jaelrin finally looked at him. Her eyes no longer held the analytic spark of an archivist. They held something quieter, heavier. They want us to forget. That's the deal. That's the only reason they haven't left Earth and remade the stars in their image. Because they agreed to slumber, as long as no one wakes them again. He leaned forward. A pact. She nodded slowly. A silence pact. Spoken not in treaty, but in the echo they leave behind. Every dead race we've found, they broke it. They pushed too far, tried to analyze, decode, replicate. And Earth retaliated. But not violently, Coran said. There were no weapons in the ruins. No signs of resistance. She shook her head. Because it wasn't war. It was absorption. They were taken, reflected, unmade, and made into something else. And then erased. Coran felt his blood chill. You think those races still exist within Earth? I don't know, but I felt them. In the vault. Echoes. Regrets. Curiosity twisted into silence. They aren't destroyed. They are remembered. Incorporated. Like Earth is building a library of minds. Or an immune system. They sat in silence. The comms panel chimed. Captain, came the voice of the pilot. We've cleared the lunar perimeter. Slipstream window is stable. Take us out, Coran ordered. As the stars elongated into streaks, the blue of Earth vanished behind them. But its presence lingered in the air. In the mind, Jaelrin stood and moved to the console. I need to write the warning. Coran nodded. The one the others ignored? The one that might save us. Log entry, Galactic Archive, Directive Omega 9. Filed by Archivist Jaelrin of the Spectral Wind. To all who seek truth beyond stars, heed this and remember. We found Earth. Not dead, not primitive, but sleeping. Humanity did not perish. It turned inward and became more than civilization, more than biology. It became the dream. Every race that woke it has vanished, not from violence, but from reflection. Earth mirrored them, absorbed them, silenced them. It does not expand. It does not invade. It simply waits, listens, watches, and should we disturb its slumber again, it will wake. Every dead race left one warning. We now understand it. Earth only pretends to slumber. JL finished the log and sealed it with highest level encryption. Only archivists with catastrophic clearance could access it. It wouldn't stop the ambitious, but it might delay the foolish. Coran watched her from across the deck. What now? JL looked out the viewport. At the distant glow of stars, she no longer trusted the same way. Now, she said, we carry the warning forward, and we hope that memory is stronger than curiosity. They sat in silence as the ship hurtled into the dark. Behind them, far beyond the veil of forgotten systems, Earth pulsed once more, soft, slow, steady, like the heartbeat of a sleeping god.